Your support keeps these stories alive. Nearly 90% of our viewers haven't hit that subscribe button yet. If you enjoy emotional, powerful tales, please consider subscribing. Click the bell so you don't miss the next one. Let us know your city in the comments. We love hearing where you're watching from. Now, let's dive into this one. When I met Mia, it felt like fate had handed me something rare. She was more than just beautiful. She was sharp, magnetic, and incredibly ambitious. We first met at a friend's party, bonding over shared sarcasm about our jobs and awkward workplace moments. What started as laughter soon became something deeper, and it didn't take long for us to grow close. Before long, we were living a life many would envy, a cozy home, unforgettable getaways, dreams we built together brick by brick. I genuinely believed we were happy. But like so many stories that end in heartache, the cracks began quietly. It started with little things. Late nights she chalked up to work, subtle grins at her phone that didn't include me, a growing space between us I couldn't seem to bridge. Mia worked in public relations, a field where charm and constant networking were part of the game. I understood the demands of her career. What I didn't understand was how it suddenly consumed all of her. When I asked about the long hours or the new fragrance she had started wearing, a scent I'd never known her to use, she would laugh it off with a dismissive, "You're overthinking." But I wasn't overthinking. I was observing. I noticed how her phone was always flipped screen down, always locked, and when I once asked for the passcode, she dodged the question. I noticed how that perfume would sometimes cling to her long after the office should have gone dark. Then came the moment that broke something in me. Our anniversary. She told me she had to work late, said it casually, like she'd forgotten what day it even was. There wasn't a flicker of remorse in her voice. My gut was screaming, but I had no real proof. I didn't want to make wild accusations without evidence. So, I paid closer attention. There was a shared location app she'd once set up and forgotten about. I used it. I checked her car one evening when she left it unlocked. And one night, as she slept peacefully beside me, I opened her laptop and searched through her email. That's when I saw them, the messages. Nothing vulgar. But the intent behind the words was impossible to ignore. Emails to someone named Adrian, a coworker, filled with inside jokes, flirtatious language, and lines like, "You make me feel alive again." It was like a punch to the chest. My hands trembled as I read each line. It was no longer suspicion, it was betrayal. I wish I could say I stopped there, but I didn't. I needed undeniable proof. So I hired a private investigator. 2 weeks later, the report came in, and it shattered everything. Photos of Mia and Adrian walking out of a hotel, arms entwined. Shots of them at a bar, his hand possessively placed on her lower back. I couldn't deny it anymore. She was cheating on me. The rage, the sorrow, the humiliation, it swallowed me whole. I had offered her everything, loyalty, love, trust. And she had gambled it all for some arrogant coworker. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. No, I was going to make sure they both understood exactly what their betrayal had cost. Mia had been buzzing for weeks about an upcoming year-end corporate gala. "It's going to be huge," she had said, eyes glowing with anticipation. "Everyone important will be there, including Adrian." She even suggested I attend as her date, likely to keep up appearances. I agreed without hesitation. My plan had already begun forming. As the event drew near, I prepared everything. I backed up the emails and photographs onto a USB drive and printed out the most damning pieces of evidence, just in case. What happened at that party would be something they'd never forget. I made sure my appearance matched the gravity of the night. A crisp suit, polished shoes, not just for the party, but for the reckoning that was about to unfold. If I was going to expose the truth, I wanted to look like the man in control. When Mia stepped out of the bedroom, she looked breathtaking in a black evening dress that hugged her figure perfectly. She leaned in, placed a soft kiss on my cheek, but there was something in her touch that felt cold, almost surgical. "Glad you're coming with me," she said, her voice warm on the surface, but something behind it felt rehearsed. I managed a smile, masking the storm churning in my chest. The venue was elegant, a grand ballroom lit by chandeliers, the sound of clinking glasses and quiet laughter filling the space. Men in tailored suits and women in flowing gowns mingled over champagne. Mia guided me through the crowd, introducing me to her coworkers with her hand lightly resting on my arm. I played the part of the devoted spouse, polite and attentive. And then I saw him, Adrian. Tall, confident, with a smooth, easy charm that likely made him a favorite at the office. The second Mia spotted him, something lit up in her expression, and I felt my pulse spike. She led me over. "This is my husband, Mark," she said cheerfully, her voice unusually bright. Adrian extended his hand, and I met it with a firm grip, locking eyes with him. He smiled, but I caught the flicker of unease behind it, and I took a quiet satisfaction in watching his composure crack. I waited. Patiently. The right moment had to hit with precision. And it did, during the speeches. The CEO took the mic and began thanking key players in the company's recent success, eventually calling Mia and Adrian to the stage to recognize their campaign work. They stood together, side by side, basking in the applause. My heart was pounding as I stepped forward. "Excuse me," I said, my voice firm and steady as it broke through the noise. Silence swept the room. Heads turned. Mia's smile vanished, confusion flickering in her eyes. Adrian froze, his expression hard to read, but the panic was there. "I just want to take a moment to applaud my wife and her coworker," I said calmly. "Not only for their professional achievements, but for their extracurricular collaboration as well." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Mia's face drained of color. Adrian looked like he'd been hit with a brick. I pulled a USB drive from my jacket pocket. "This little device contains emails, photos, and plenty more that document exactly what's been going on behind closed doors," I said, holding it up for the crowd to see. Mia's hand flew to her mouth. Adrian took a step forward, maybe to speak, but I cut him off sharply. "Sit down, Adrian. You've said enough." He froze in place. I turned to the CEO. "I think you'll want to have a look at this," I said, offering the USB. His face was a blend of shock and anger as he reached for it. Then I turned back to the crowd. "Apologies for the interruption," I said, my tone still even. But the truth needed to be heard. And with that, I walked out, leaving behind stunned silence and two people who now had to face the wreckage they created. The whispers followed me all the way to the exit. Mia came home later that night, her mascara smudged, her cheeks streaked with tears. "How could you do that to me?" she choked out. "You humiliated me in front of everyone." "How could I?" I snapped, anger rising in my throat. "How could you, Mia? How could you betray me after everything we built?" She collapsed onto the couch, sobbing uncontrollably. "It was a mistake," she kept repeating. "I didn't mean for it to go that far." "A mistake is forgetting a dinner reservation," I said coldly. "What you did, that was a decision. Over and over again. And now, you have to live with the outcome." The consequences came quickly. Adrian was terminated within the week. Mia was put on probation, and her once flawless reputation was in shambles. Word spread quickly among our friends and family. The truth doesn't stay quiet for long. She begged for another chance. She swore she'd change. But I couldn't. I filed for divorce and moved out, leaving her to deal with the aftermath of her choices. As for me, I rebuilt my life from the ground up. It wasn't simple, but I refused to let her betrayal define me. I found a new job, met new people, and eventually, I met someone who reminded me what real love looked like. Someone who valued honesty, who made loyalty feel effortless. Mia's life never quite recovered. Last I heard, she was working a smaller job at a lesser-known company. Her spark had dimmed. Her ambition, once her strongest asset, couldn't erase what she'd done. Adrian. He disappeared into professional obscurity, just another cautionary tale about what happens when you mix business with bad judgment. In the end, I didn't just survive her betrayal. I rose above it. And that, I learned, is the greatest revenge of all. If this story moved you, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss a moment. Thank you for watching, and stay strong out there.